Hey there! Welcome back to Epic Myths Unveiled. Have you ever heard about the ancient story of Theseus and the Minotaur? It's an old tale that's fascinated people for a really long time, and it still does today. In ancient Greece, there was a prince named Theseus. He went on a big adventure to defeat the Minotaur, a scary creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull. The Minotaur demanded sacrifices, and Theseus wanted to save his people from this terrifying fate. So in today's video, we'll explore where the story came from, how it evolved, and what it all means. But before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let's start our journey into this legendary tale. This is the Minotaur Unveiled. To understand the tale of Theseus and the Minotaur, we need to get to know the main characters first. Theseus is a young prince from Athens. He's brave and sets off on a dangerous journey to defeat the Minotaur. The Minotaur is a strange creature, part man and part bull, locked up in a maze made by King Minos from Crete. King Minos is a very strong and harsh ruler. He's also the father of Ariadne, a lovely princess who falls in love with Theseus. King Aegeus, Theseus' dad, is also important. He's a king too, and he sent his son to Athens to prove he could be a great leader. So Theseus has to face a monster, navigate a tricky maze, and deal with love and family expectations. The birth of the Minotaur. The story of the Minotaur's birth is a tale filled with gods, kings, and punishment. It all started when King Minos of Crete wanted to prove his right to rule. He prayed to Poseidon, the mighty sea god, asking for a special sign of support. Poseidon agreed to help, sending a magnificent snow-white bull. But there was a condition. The bull was meant to be sacrificed in honor of Poseidon. However, King Minos was captivated by the bull's beauty and decided to keep it instead of sacrificing it. This angered Poseidon greatly. To punish Minos for his deceit, Poseidon sought the help of Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Aphrodite cast a powerful spell on Pasiphae, Minos' wife, calling her to fall deeply in love with the divine bull. As a result of this unnatural love, Pasiphae gave birth to the Minotaur, a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull. This monstrous being became a constant reminder of King Minos' betrayal and a symbol of shame for the people of Crete. The Minotaur was kept in a labyrinth, a complex maze designed by the architect Daedalus, where it posed a threat to anyone who dared to enter. This labyrinth became infamous throughout the land, and the tales of the Minotaur's ferocity spread far and wide. What is the etymology of Minotaur? The word Minotaur has a straightforward origin. In ancient Greek, Tor means bull, and it's also the root of the astrological sign Taurus. On the other hand, Mino is a short form of Minos, so Minotaur essentially translates to the bull of Minos. Despite its apparent simplicity, this etymology reveals that the ancient Greeks focused on the bull belonging to King Minos rather than its ties to Poseidon or its location in Crete. This raises intriguing questions about why the emphasis was on Minos. Was it because Minos had a significant connection to the creature, or does it reflect the paramount importance of the Cretan king in Greek history? This remains uncertain. Was King Minos the father of the Minotaur? The Minotaur got its name as the Bull of Minos, but its actual origin lies with the Cretan bull, a fantastical beast crafted by the sea god Poseidon. This bull was initially intended as a sacrifice by Minos to demonstrate his suitability as a king. However, Minos chose to sacrifice a regular bull instead, which angered Poseidon. In response, Poseidon cursed Pasiphae, Minos' wife, causing her to develop a strong desire for the Cretan bull. The Cretan bull was a special and stunning white bull with a significant story. It was said to be created by a god and played a role in the myth where Zeus, the king of the gods, carried Europa on its back. Later, as part of Heracles' 12 challenging tasks, he managed to capture the bull and offered it to Eurystheus. Before this event, a curse befell Pasiphae, causing her to desire the bull passionately. She was so obsessed that she asked Daedalus, a smart inventor, to make a fake cow out of wood. Pasiphae hid inside it and had, a romantic time with the bull. In Greek stories, people sleeping with animals or gods pretending to be animals always caused problems. This time, it led to the birth of the Minotaur, a half-human, half-bull creature. In stories from long ago, people talked about a creature called the Minotaur, but the details they gave were kind of fuzzy. They said it had the body of a man and the head of a bull. Sometimes they said only its face looked like a bull. One ancient writer named Diodorus Siculus wrote down a description. He said the Minotaur had a bull's body up to its shoulders, then it was like a man from there down. When artists today draw the Minotaur, they make the human part bigger and stronger looking, and they give it a bull's head with big horns. A famous artist named Pablo Picasso made lots of sketches of the Minotaur. In one of his pictures, the Minotaur even has a tail. In video games now, you can find characters called Minotaurs that come from these old stories. They show up in games like Assassin's Creed, Hades, and Age of Mythology. In a famous book called The Inferno, written by Dante, he talked about the Minotaur too. He called it the shame of Crete. Dante said the Minotaur was so angry that it would bite itself if it saw people it wanted to hurt. He put the Minotaur at the gates of hell, where bad people go after they die. What happened to the Minotaur? Minos was really angry at his wife because of what she'd done with a bull on the island of Crete. He felt embarrassed because the thing that came out of it was like a monster, and he was worried people would think less of him. Even though he had won battles in many places, the insults from other things bothered him a lot. There was a person named Scylla who helped Minos win a battle, but when she asked for safe passage afterwards, Minos said no. She got upset and told Minos that she understood why his wife chose the bull over him. This made Minos feel even worse, because if everyone started believing these kinds of insults, he'd lose his power and respect. So Minos came up with a plan. He asked a famous inventor named Daedalus to build a huge maze, like a really complicated puzzle, and he wanted to put the monster, the Minotaur, inside it. Minos had protected Daedalus before, so he kind of threatened to take that protection away if Daedalus didn't do what he asked. Daedalus worked hard to create a maze that was super confusing. If you didn't know the way, you'd be stuck in there forever. This way, the monster would be trapped and people would feel safe again. Minos thought this would help him keep his good reputation. They called the maze different things like the Minotaurs Labyrinth, the Labyrinth of Minos, or just the Labyrinth. We don't really know how Minotaur was treated, but it probably wasn't nice. People in Crete only saw it as a scary monster captured by King Minos. The queen didn't tell anyone what she did with the bulls, so everyone just thought the Minotaur was born that way. We don't know if anybody tried talking to the Minotaur or what it ate, but it likely turned into a monster because it had no other option. As a punishment for something that happened between Athens and Crete, Minos ordered Athens to send 7 young men and 7 maidens to be put in the labyrinth. The Minotaur would hunt them down, kill them, and eat them. It was a really scary and cruel punishment. What is the Minotaurs Labyrinth? The Minotaurs Labyrinth was a huge building created to imprison the creature. It had confusing passages that twisted and turned, making it difficult to find the way out. These passages were described as having vague windings and mazy wanderings that deceived the eyes. The maze's design was so intricate that even Daedalus, the architect, found it challenging to retrace his steps. Pseudo-Apollodorus noted that the labyrinth had tangled windings that confused those trying to navigate it. It was practically impossible to determine whether one was moving closer to the exit or deeper into the maze's interior. When discussing the difference between a maze and a labyrinth, some modern texts argue that the Minotaur's Labyrinth should be called a maze. This is due to the notion that a labyrinth, according to certain English horticulturists, has only one path, making it impossible to get lost. Who killed the Minotaur? Theseus, a brave hero from ancient Greece, faced a daunting task to defeat the fearsome Minotaur, a monstrous creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull. The Minotaur lived in a maze-like structure called the Labyrinth, deep within the kingdom of King Minos on the island of Crete. The story begins with King Minos demanding a cruel tribute from Athens. Every year, Athens had to send 7 young boys and 7 young girls to be sacrificed to the Minotaur as a punishment for a past offense. Theseus, upon learning of this horrifying demand, decided to take action. He volunteered as one of these sacrificial youths, determined to put an end to this gruesome tradition. Princess Ariadne, the daughter of King Minos, sympathized with Theseus and wanted to help him. She secretly provided him with a ball of thread and a sword, essential tools for navigating the labyrinth and defeating the Minotaur. Ariadne had developed feelings for Theseus and admired his bravery, unlike her mother who was merely charmed by him. As Theseus entered the labyrinth with the other children, he made a plan to ensure their safety. He instructed them to stay close to the entrance and gave one of them the end of the thread. This thread would serve as their lifeline, guiding them back to safety once the task was completed. With thread in hand, Theseus ventured deep into the maze, facing numerous twists and turns along the way. He used the thread to navigate the labyrinth, ensuring he never strayed too far from the path back to the entrance. As he progressed, he encountered various challenges and obstacles, but remained determined to confront the Minotaur. Finally, Theseus reached the heart of the labyrinth, where the Minotaur lurked. With courage and skill, he engaged in a fierce battle with the monstrous creature. Using his sword and the element of surprise, Theseus managed to overcome the Minotaur, defeating it and ending its reign of terror. Having emerged victorious, Theseus led the other children back to safety, guided by the thread provided by Princess Ariadne. His heroic deeds earned him admiration and respect, solidifying his legacy as one of the greatest heroes of Greek mythology. How was the Minotaur killed? Theseus, a skilled adventurer, was confident in his ability to defeat the Minotaur in combat. In the story recounted by Ovid in Hesiod, Theseus is described as using his strong three-knotted club to break the bones of the fearsome Minotaur and scatter them on the ground. Surprisingly, he didn't even need the sword that Ariadne had given him for this task. The Minotaur's death likely echoed across the land of Crete, perhaps bringing relief to its people who had long suffered from the creature's terrifying presence. Whether Queen Pasiphae, the mother of the Minotaur, felt joy or sorrow at her child's demise remains unrecorded. This event marked the beginning of the end for King Minos. Daedalus, the famed craftsman, managed to escape Crete with his son Icarus, while Minos' daughter, Ariadne, chose to accompany Theseus on his journey. Over time, the power of Athens grew, and eventually the once mighty kingdom of Crete fell under Greek control. Does the Minotaurs Labyrinth exist? The Minotaurs Labyrinth is a mysterious place, but despite the tales, no archaeologist has found solid proof or the actual Minotaur. It might be a fancy palace, a network of caves, or something lost in time. On the flip side, the Minos Palace is real and constantly under the archaeologist's spade. Every year they discover new things, and there's hope that the elusive labyrinth might reveal itself one day. A popular idea suggests that the Minos Palace could be the leftover pieces of the labyrinth, repurposed after Theseus dealt with the Minotaur. Historical texts like the Iliad and letters from the Middle Ages seem to support this notion. Archaeologists even found evidence that the palace went through multiple rebuilds. Other folks think the labyrinth might be entirely underground, or perhaps it never existed at all. Ancient historians wonder if the famous maze was so complex that you could truly get lost forever. Unraveling the Minotaur myth and its connection to the end of Crete's rule over the Mediterranean is like solving a historical puzzle. Researchers have been on the case, but there's little agreement so far. The story of Theseus and the Minotaur is really interesting, and it affects people everywhere. It's about bravery, love, giving up something important, and how strong people can be inside. Lots of people still love this story because it teaches important lessons and has lots of symbols and pictures that make it special. Understanding and liking old stories like this one is important for our culture, and Theseus and the Minotaur is a great example of just that. It shows how stories from long ago can still matter today, and that's pretty cool. If you enjoy exploring fascinating tales like these, consider subscribing to our channel for more engaging content that delves into the depths of mythology and history.